In today's video, I've got something truly intriguing to share with you. The Chinese secret to saving money. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about how the Chinese save money? Well, stick by the end of this video to know the secrets. The most stunning fact about the Chinese is that in China, the gross savings rate stands at a staggering 45.9%. Yes, you heard that right! For every $100 they earn, they manage to save nearly $46. Compare that to the United States, where we often prioritize consumption and the typical savings rate hovers between 4.5% and 5%. So, now let's understand why the Chinese are excellent at saving. It's a question that's worth exploring because it's not just a small difference. Well, the answer, my friends, lies in a combination of cultural factors and historical events. In the United States, we're constantly bombarded with sales, discounts, financing options, and the pressure to keep up with the Joneses. It feels like we're constantly under pressure to keep up with our neighbors, upgrade our gadgets, and live the good life. After World War II, during the post-Great Depression era, consuming in America was seen as a patriotic duty. The idea was to boost the economy by encouraging spending. Now, let's flip the globe and look at China. It's a different world altogether. Here, saving money is deeply ingrained in the culture, and it's not just a personal preference, it's a societal norm. The reasons behind this are multifaceted. Firstly, the Chinese have a unique perspective on what money means to them. It's often seen as a symbol of security and stability, not just a tool for immediate gratification. Another interesting facet is the aversion to financing things. Unlike in the West, where taking on debt is often seen as a necessary step, Chinese people prefer to purchase things outright with cash. Debt is seen as something to be avoided whenever possible. Now you might be thinking, okay, but where's the Chinese secret to saving money? Don't worry, we'll get to that shortly. But first, understanding why the Chinese are so adept at saving money can provide valuable insights for all of us. It's not just about their practices, it's about their mindset. Now, let's understand why Chinese people are such dedicated savers. The first one might seem quite straightforward. From a very young age, Chinese children are taught that saving money is not just a good habit, it's an honorable one. During special occasions like New Year's and birthdays, children often receive money in red envelopes, and guess what? They're encouraged by their parents to save it. This money is even referred to as lucky money. During holidays and New Year celebrations, instead of saying Happy New Year, they say something else. Let me share with you a video of Ronnie Chang, the comedian who explains better than me.
Even during Chinese New Year, the biggest holiday for Chinese people, Chinese New Year, when we see each other during Chinese New Year, the way we greet each other is we say 恭喜发财 or 恭喜发财 in Cantonese. I'm sure you've heard that, at least peripherally, right? 恭喜发财, 恭喜发财. 恭喜发财 means hope you get rich. That's not Happy New Year.
They greet each other with 恭喜发财, which translates to hope you get rich. It's a cheeky but meaningful phrase, emphasizing the importance of wealth. The importance of money is also reflected in how Chinese society views those who possess wealth. People with substantial wealth in Chinese culture are often seen as successful and respected. So having money is not just about financial security, it's also about status and honor. Now, let's talk about some additional perks. Up until 2016, China enforced a one-child policy to manage overpopulation. Families were only allowed one child, and breaking this rule meant hefty fines. But here's where it gets interesting. If you didn't pay that fine, your household couldn't register your second child's name in the household system. And guess what that meant? Your second child wouldn't be eligible for crucial services like healthcare and education. This policy also led to a unique dynamic. In Chinese culture, having a son who carries the family name and inherits property is considered highly important. As a result, families often use contraception to try and ensure they had a male child. This preference for male children led to an uneven gender ratio, with more males being born than females. Imagine having 122 males for every 100 females at its peak. In simple terms, when you have more men than women, you end up with a supply and demand issue. More men are competing for the attention of the same number of women. To stand out as a man in China, you often need to be perceived as successful, and that often translates to having more amount of money. But there's more to the story. The one-child policy had another significant impact. Since families were typically limited to having just one child, this meant fewer mouths to feed and fewer expenses for parents. So you had a double advantage. Parents didn't have to spend as much money, and males were incentivized to save to enhance their desirability. Another critical reason for saving in China, unlike in some Western countries, in China, there's no 401k, no IRA, and no traditional retirement accounts for people to contribute to. Instead, they rely on a pension system. However, many Chinese citizens express doubts about the stability of this pension system and worry about the rising costs of healthcare, education, and sustaining their pensions in the future. These are some of the main intrinsic reasons why Chinese people like to save money. But let's talk about the money secret of this video. Before we start, I hope you subscribe to my channel and like this video to keep me motivated to make more videos for you. So, let's move on to the secret. In China, and in many Western countries like the United States, it's called a zero-based budgeting system. Here's how it works. You create a budget where you allocate every last cent of your monthly income so that, at the end of the month, the amount left equals zero. Yes, you heard that correctly, zero! Your income minus your expenses, which also includes savings, investments, paying off debt, and more, equals zero. Imagine you make $4,000 a month. A zero-based budget might look something like this. On one side, you list your essentials like rent, groceries, and necessities. But here's the kicker. You also have a section for things you're saving for, like your emergency fund, IRA contributions, student loan payments, and even that new car fund you've been eyeing. By the time you've accounted for every dollar in your budget, you're left with a big fat zero at the bottom right of the table. This is the essence of the zero-based budgeting system. Every dollar finds a purpose. Now, you might be thinking, how do I do this? Well, you can easily implement this budgeting system at home. But here's the kicker. You need to be brutally honest with your expenses. Sometimes, it's a good idea to track your spending for a few months to get an accurate picture of your variable expenses. The zero-based budgeting system doesn't dictate exactly how much you should spend on each category. Instead, it empowers you to understand your expenses as a whole, including fixed and variable costs. From there, you can allocate your budget in a way that aligns with your goals and priorities. So there you have it, the Chinese secret to saving money. But hold on, we're not done yet. I'll reveal two main factors that the Chinese prioritize to help them save a lot of money. Let's start with number one, the 10-to-1 rule. When the Chinese earn money, they have a remarkable tendency to live off a very small percentage of their income. Let me share a touching story that inspired this principle. Our friend's father, who was the spark behind this video, grew up in challenging circumstances in Shanghai. There were days where he couldn't even afford a meal, and he went to bed hungry. When he could afford food, all he had was a simple, tasteless pastry known as mantou. Now, a mantou is a humble, plain bun that comes at a very low cost. But here's where it gets interesting. When this gentleman began his career, let's say he earned $10, he aimed to live off just $1 from that income. In reality, could he consistently live off just $1 for every 10 he earned? Not always. There were times where he had to allocate 6, 7, 8, or even 9 out of those $10 just to meet his basic needs. But here's the key. It wasn't about accumulating wealth. It was about ensuring he never had to go to bed hungry again. The simple principle of saving as much as possible and living off as little as necessary left a lasting impression on me. And I've noticed that it's a mindset shared by many other Chinese individuals as well. But here's the important thing to understand. While the 10-to-1 rule is an effective strategy for building wealth, it can create what's known as a scarcity mindset about money. It's crucial to recognize that as you earn more, you can transition your mindset towards one of abundance. Now, Let's move on to the next factor. Buy used or refurbished items. Why pay top dollar for something brand new when you can get the same quality for a fraction of the cost? Many online platforms such as eBay and Craigslist offer a treasure trove of used items at prices that won't break the bank. These items may have a bit of history, but they can still deliver the performance you need. And then there are refurbished items. They are another fantastic option. They undergo rigorous testing and certification to ensure they function just like new, yet they're sold at a significantly lower price. There you have all the Chinese secrets to save money. But you know what? You can start your investment journey with just $2. To know it, click on this video where I have explained step by step from beginning to the end.